From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
A sweeping new change to U.S. immigration policy goes into effect today. What this means for Arizona.
Plus, rally tally. Just how much do campaign stops by President Trump and other candidates cost the cities they visit?
And some Mesa students could attend community college for free. Details on who qualifies and how the city plans to foot the bill.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Danielle Malkin.
And I'm Tyler Mannion. Thank you for joining us.
New rules take effect today for immigrants applying for green cards, visas, and admission into the United States.
U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services tried to implement these rules last fall, but multiple federal court issues injunctions.
Madison LaBerge spoke with an advocacy group that explained how the changes to what's known as public charge will affect Arizona families.
Those injunctions did temporarily stop the public charge rules from taking effect last year. But a new Supreme Court ruling lifted those final holds across the nation. When an immigration officer is looking at an application for a visa or a green card, they decide how likely that applicant is to become dependent on certain government benefits. Illinois was the last state with a federal court order blocking the new rules from taking effect. However, according to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services website, the state is now included in the new nationwide rules. In the studio, Madison LaBerge, Cronkite News.
Right now, conservation groups across Arizona are petitioning the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization to put the El Pinacante and Gran Desierto de Altar Biosphere Reserve on the endangered list because of border wall construction. According to the groups, the 30-foot wall poses a threat to unique Sonoran wildlife. It also prevents cross-border migration and habitat use, and cuts through the route of a sacred cross-border journey of the Tohono O'odham people.
Thousands were in attendance last week as the president made his first stop in Arizona since the 2020 election season kicked off. An event of that size comes with a hefty price tag. According to recent reports, the Trump campaign did pay the $27,000 rental fee for Wednesday's use of Veterans Memorial Coliseum in advance. But it seems the president racked up charges with other Valley cities, sometimes on official visits, others on campaign stops. The president's 2017 speech in Phoenix cost the city more than $450,000, which ended in downtown Phoenix flooded with rioters and tear gas. The majority of that cost for employee overtime. There was not a request for reimbursement from the city for those costs of the official presidential visit, which was not a campaign stop. Following a stop in Mesa in 2018 to rally support for Senator Martha McSally's Senate campaign, the city sent the Trump campaign a request for reimbursement, totaling more than $64,000 to cover the cost of rented equipment such as barricade and security, as well as towing services. The practice of not paying for campaign rally debt is bipartisan. That's according to Donald Sherman, the Deputy Director of Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders had similar unpaid costs from his 2016 campaign. Those were settled before his 2020 run. Under FEC law, campaigns are not required to pay the costs they incur when campaigning in cities and localities. However, they must report that debt. Whether or not it's resolved is at the discretion of the campaign, leaving taxpayers with the check. If taxpayers are footing the bill to these visits, should they be able to refuse the visit entirely? Sherman said the chances of that happening are unlikely.
So I think a city can say no, but there's both a financial cost and, frankly, a reputational cost when we've seen the president retaliate against some of these local elected officials simply for suggesting that the president's campaign helped shoulder the financial burden.
While the city of Mesa billed the Trump campaign for the 2018 election rally, the city of Mesa did release a statement saying they had never billed the Trump White House or previous administration and embraced the obligation to provide security for the president and his official visits. That statement reiterating the fact that the president is not legally obligated to cover the costs of the 2018 campaign rally.
Today marks 152 years since President Andrew Johnson, the 17th U.S. president, was impeached in 1868. He was acquitted by the U.S. Senate. Since then, 3 U.S. presidents have had their own encounters with impeachment. Marcela Baedo spoke to a local family to see how different generations remember these historical events.
In 1974, President Nixon left office before being impeached. 24 years later, President Clinton was officially impeached in 1998. And most recently, President Trump faced impeachment proceedings ending earlier this month. We wanted to understand what it's like for a multi-generational family to talk about and compare all these impeachments over dinner. Even though the impeachment proceedings against President Donald Trump are over, the Ashtons feel as if this will still be an important issue leading up to the 2020 presidential election in November. In the broadcast center, Marcela Baedo, Cronkite News.
Quarantine is over for the Tempe man who tested positive for the coronavirus. County health officials in Arizona say the patient, who has ties to ASU, is no longer infected by the virus. The Arizona Republic reported the male patient is in his 20s and has been in isolation since January after returning from China.
Mesa Mayor John Giles announced a plan to make college more affordable for students. The plan will offer 2 years of free community college tuition for Mesa residents.
And that plan is under the framework of Achieve 60 Arizona, focused on improving the number of people working towards their college degree.
Cronkite News reporter Madison Atkinson explains the program. Madison?
The Mesa College Promise campaign encourages high school students to go to college without those students being discouraged about the price of tuition. The city of Mesa expects to have the program established by 2021. Broadcast Center, Madison Atkinson, Cronkite News.
So now we want to hear from you. Do you think the first 2 years of community college should be free for all Arizona students?
So far, over 90% of you have voted yes in our live interactive poll. But it's not too late to join the conversation. Just go to our Cronkite News Twitter feed to weigh in. Still to come on Cronkite News at 5, we take you to Kobe Bryant's celebration of life in LA.
How we'll show you how celebrities and fans alike are honoring the basketball legend.
And the movement underway in Arizona to help get people to their medical appointments with ease.
And Homeland Secrets. ASU's Howard Center for Investigative Journalism examined agent-involved shootings nationwide by a little-known division of ICE. To watch the entire documentary, just go to our website, cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Cronkite News starts now.
Welcome to this Monday edition of Cronkite News. I'm Tyler Mannion.
And I'm Danielle Malkin. Thank you for joining us.
Arizona has begun releasing more detailed demographic information about the spread of the coronavirus.
The information released on Sunday suggests a heavy toll among the elderly, men, and Native Americans. Health officials also released infection data zip code, along with the statewide availability of healthcare resources, including ventilator breathing machines.
Deaths linked to the pandemic increased to 122 statewide as confirmed infections rose to 3,702. Men accounted for 63% of the death toll.
The Navajo Nation had their number of COVID-19 cases spike 17% over the weekend. The nation's largest Native American tribe is located in parts of northern Arizona, New Mexico, and Utah. The tribe is taking extra measures to combat the spread, including setting up a curfew. Members must now stay in their homes from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m., and those who go to work must have official identification and a letter with employer contact information for verification in order to travel. The Arizona National Guard is also lending a hand to the Navajo Nation. They help provide and transport 200 personal protective items to members and met with health officials to see how they could further assist during the outbreak. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey thanked both the Arizona and New Mexico National Guard for their assistance.
The coronavirus has closed businesses, cost jobs, and hit entire industries, including one you may not think of. Dairy farmers say as they've watched markets dry up, they've been forced to dump millions of gallons of milk. And it's no different for farmers in Arizona, as Cronkite News reporter Kara Harris tells us. Human rights groups across Arizona hosted a car rally Friday at a detention center in Eloy, saying the migrants held at the facility are at a serious risk. With each honk, activists sent a loud message to the federal government, demanding immigration and customs enforcement release the migrants to help stop the spread of COVID-19. They say at least 2 migrants in the detention center tested positive for the virus.
How do we practice social distancing when you're in a cage, when you're detained?
It's just a horrendous thing that cries out for anybody who's got any sense of humanity.
They're living in very crowded quarters, and they're at high risk because they're crammed together in a detention center with a very uncertain future.
In a statement, ICE said they're committed to ensuring the welfare of all those in the agency's custody and ensuring detained individuals reside in safe, secure, and humane environments under appropriate conditions of confinement. Due to the unprecedented nature of COVID-19, ICE is reviewing cases of individuals in detention who may be vulnerable to the virus, utilizing CDC guidance along with the advice of medical professionals. ICE may place individuals in a number of alternatives to detention options.
As people are asked to stay home to stop the spread of COVID-19, what about people who don't have a home? Cronkite News reporter Madison Atkinson found out what's being done to serve those suffering from homelessness throughout the valley. The Human Service Campus and the Society of St. Vincent de Paul are accepting donations at this time. You can check out their websites for more information on how you can get involved with helping the community. It's the start of a new work week, so what can you expect when it comes to your weather?
Millard Thomas is standing by with a look at our 8-day forecast. Millard?
Yes, Tyler, I have the 8-day forecast coming up for you in just a few minutes, but first, let's start with your Monday evening planner. So, you guys start to get off work around 6 o'clock. The temperatures are going to be sitting about 76 degrees. They're going to drop all the way to 74 around 8 o'clock and then 71 around 9 o'clock. So, if you want to go out for a walk after dinner, still practicing safe social distancing is going to be a perfect night for that. Now, how about when you wake up tomorrow in Arizona? Temperatures are going to be about 62 degrees around 8 a.m. They're going to spike all the way to 79 around the 3 o'clock hour. But don't worry, those temperatures are going to cool just a little bit to 73 around the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow. Now, how about the rest of northern Arizona? You're going to see mostly mid-50s and lower 60s, with Kingman kind of being that hot spot at 64 degrees. You're going to see 47 out in Flagstaff and 57 out in Page. Now, how about your next 8 days? We're going to see 81 on Tuesday, 83 on Wednesday, and those temperatures are going to climb to hits a peak of 88 on Thursday, then back down to 85 on Friday before going to 82 on Saturday, 86 on Sunday, and then with the new week, we'll be back to 88 on Monday, and then 86 on Tuesday. So we'll be in the 80s all week, with the lows being upper 50s to lower 60s. Millard Thomas, not from the Cronkite News Weather Center, but from my very own bedroom.
We are in a terrible moment, an unprecedented moment, and I know we share the understanding that we've got to go forward right now and out of this in an unprecedented way to address the terrible pain that so many of our fellow Americans are feeling. So today I am asking all Americans, I'm asking every Democrat, I'm asking every independent, I'm asking a lot of Republicans to come together in this campaign to support your candidacy, which I endorse, to make certain that we defeat somebody who I believe, and I'm speaking just for myself now, is the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country.
Bernie Sanders has officially endorsed Joe Biden for president. The two appeared together this morning on a live stream to make the announcement. The Vermont senator said they both have agreed to form task forces to work on policy matters. Biden said, quote, "I think people are going to be surprised that we are apart on some issues, but we're awfully close on others."
Mark Kelly is well known in Arizona. He's an astronaut, the wife of former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, and a candidate for U.S. Senate. He's also the author of a children's book alongside his twin brother, Scott.
This month, to help inject some humanity into the chaos of coronavirus, the Kelly brothers took to Instagram to share some of their experiences in space with their youngest fans. Cronkite News reporter Melanie Porter found out how the brothers are using virtual events to connect with kids all around the world. We want to hear from you about other acts of humanity during this crisis. If you or someone you know is stepping up to help others, please email us at cronkitenews@asu.edu.
That's it for Cronkite News. From our homes to yours, thanks for watching.
For Arizona news updates throughout the day, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.